Welcome along to episode 2 in the new series of Upping The Ante in association with Bet365 with David Jennings and Gavin Lynch. And Gavin, the last 7 days we've had plenty of Cheltenham clues. It's been really busy. But what Upping The Ante viewers want to know is, how was your punting week? That's what everybody asks me when I go into the races.
It was okay. Us punters do stupid things now and again. On the weekend it was a bit silly.
Gavin Lynch doesn't do stupid things.
I do. Saturday, very good day, and Sunday gave it all back.
Okay. What was good for you on Saturday?
The bumper in Naas.
Paul Nolan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just it had previous form with Gypsy Island. So.
And why was it a bad day on Sunday?
Melon mostly. So, but anyway.
I think there's a lot of Upping The Ante viewers in the same boat, Gavin, when it comes to melon.
Yes.
Now, Gavin, Tiger Roll, Gavin's favourite horse in training. Viewers have a chance to win a copy of this fantastic book, which is penned by Andrew Peddington in the Racing Post. Gordon has seen it, he's read it, he's a big fan. Tiger Roll, so for your chance to win a copy of Tiger Roll, the little legend that is Tiger Roll, just comment, like, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. And now it's time for our questions from the crowd, where you, the viewer, get to interact with myself and Gavin Lynch. And our first question is from Michael Hawkins, who's thanking us both for our profit last year, Gavin. Good man, Michael. Good. But what he wants to know is, how do we both decide which race a horse will go for at the Cheltenham Festival? So you were unlucky last year. You tipped up Laurishburg at one stage at a huge price for the JLT, and it went favour for the Arkle. Now, it didn't run. But how do you try and decide which race to go for? I
suppose you have to look at form. Obviously, you have to look at trainer. And one very important thing is whether a horse might need soft ground or not. We'll chat about that towards the end of the show. But so if a horse needs softer ground, generally they'll run Tuesday or Wednesday, because the ground is usually softer at the start of the week than it is later. Yes. Okay. You know that.
I do, yeah. But their viewers mightn't know that, yeah?
So, as I said, previous form is obvious. And then also maybe the owner of the horses, whether horses are going to clash against each other or not, because owners obviously don't want to run against each other. So,
absolutely, yeah. So in the last week leading up to it, that's really when you put the finishing touches to it.
Yeah, and obviously William Mullins only decides the last couple of days, whereas Gordon Elliott likes to plan well ahead, so you have to allow for that as well.
Okay, doke. So there you go, Michael. I hope your question was answered there. Our second question is from Dominic Spiller, and it is about our beloved Sam Crow, Gavin.
Lovely.
Sam Crow was entitled to do what he did. He beat nothing, and he will meet much more serious opposition later in the year. Gavin, Sam Crow, are we reading too much into that performance?
Well, there's two Sam Crows. There's the novice hurdle Sam Crow, where he won 8 in a row, including his point-to-point.
Yes.
And then last season he was an off from 3. So that's obviously not good. But this season in Down Royal, he looks to be back to himself, you'd imagine. He jumped great. He had great scope. He met a couple of them long and he winged them. He showed a great turn of foot. Keith just released a bit of rain after the last and he sprinted. My only little worry that I said to you last week is I want to see him going left-handed before I back him for Cheltenham.
Okay.
That's my only worry.
Even though he's won the Ballymore.
I know, but that was hurdles, this is fences. So.
Okay, and he's won at Leopardstown as well.
He did.
So right now,
do
you think it's more likely or unlikely that Sam Crow will win at the 2020 Cheltenham Festival?
I'd say it's unlikely. He's obviously, I think, is he 5 or 6 to 1 favourite for the JLT. That's the race he'll go for. I can't see him going for the RSA, but I'd still be sitting on the fence. I wouldn't be backing him yet, no.
We'll get you off that fence soon.
No.
Sam Crow is going to win the JLT, folks. Okay, our next question is from Patrick Smith, and he wants to know what the story is with Next Destination. It's a horse I know my own editor, Richard Forrestal, is in love with. Mm-hmm. Next Destination obviously ran a decent enough race behind Sam Crow in that aforementioned Ballymore. Yes. Looked like he was going to be a beautiful staying chaser. You have your moles in the Willie Mullins stable.
No, I haven't. I don't know.
What is the story with Next Destination?
We haven't seen him, is it at least 18 months, so I've no light to shed on that one, sorry.
And there doesn't seem to be any mention in stable tours, and
no.
I'd imagine the news is not good.
Well, you could ask Patrick. Find out for next week. I
will find out for next week's show how Next Destination is, because he looked your proper RSA type, didn't he?
Yeah, no, lovely horse. Very good novice hurdler, yeah.
Yeah, he certainly was. That Patrick, we'll try and get an answer for you in next week's show, because I'm in Willie Mullins on Wednesday morning.
Oh, there you are.
So I'll have the lowdown from all at Cly Sutton for next week's Upping The Ante. That will be episode 3. And our fourth and final question is from Just Saying, who is a big Native River fan, and he can't believe how quickly Native River has been dismissed. He says, when you look through his form, he's never out of the first 3. He's really consistent. The only time he's been out of the first 3 was when he was 4th in the Gold Cup. Why are we forgetting Native River in the Gold Cup?
He loves Cheltenham. He's been there, I think, 4 times. As you say, he was 3rd in the Gold Cup to St John, then he won it. I was there that day in Cheltenham. The ground was atrocious, to be honest. But that's the ground he loves. He's a Welsh national winner. The thing I'd have against him is that he's 10. The last horse to win the Gold Cup at 10 was 22 years ago. So I just don't like backing older horses. Can't have them.
Yeah, Native River can't win a Gold Cup.
I don't think so, no.
Can't win a Gold Cup. No, not at this age. Not the way the novices are coming through. I think it's just...
Even if the ground was heavy, I don't think he'd win it.
Yeah, okay. So there you go. Unfortunately, for just saying, Gavin Lynch does not think that Native River can win the 2020 Cheltenham Gold Cup. So now, folks, it's time for the week that was. This is Gavin Lynch's analysis of the last 7 days. And Gavin, you have been a busy boy because there have been Cheltenham clues left, right, centre. They're everywhere.
No, there was a lot in the last week.
Go for it.
First one, Tuesday, next to the Janika, a horse that you tipped up last year.
Put him up for the 2 mile, 2.5 mile handicap chase, the Brown Advisory, just beaten by Sir the Lack.
So he wins the other day off 162. Presumably he's going to get maybe £6 for that 168. So he's very highly rated. He's 12 to 1 for the Ryanair with Bet365 and 16 for the Champion Chase. I wouldn't back him, but he'd have a small chance, I suppose, in the Ryanair, would he? One of your favourite horses, Champ, won on Thursday in Newbury. He won a beginner's chase over 2.6. He's now, I think, 5 to 1 favourite for the RSA. To me, that seems a little bit short. As soon as a horse wins impressive nowadays, they become favourite, it seems, for Cheltenham.
Now, you know I get sucked into these things, Gavin.
Yeah.
I do get sucked in.
You like Champ.
But he is brilliant.
Yeah, he jumped very well. The one thing I'll say to you, that I thought he looked beat between the fourth and third last. Did you?
No, I didn't. I just, when he moved from the outside to the inside, that worried me a slight bit.
Yeah,
but I just thought the gears he showed to get on the tail of good horses, and he won very easily.
I've one little thing for you. The courses that he's won at Perth, he's won at Warwick 3 times in Newbury, he also won at Aintree. They're all long straights. Cheltenham on the old course, he got beat by City Island. You turn in the Ballymore, jump 1, he got beat.
Ran well though.
He did. And the RSA, it's the same course, the old course. I just wonder, he hits the odd flat spot. I'd like to see him again, to be honest.
Would you?
Yeah.
I'm convinced.
Are
That
you?
goes to show you our different personalities, Gavin.
Yeah.
I don't take as much convincing as you do. I think Champ will win the RSA.
Saturday in Aintree, there was a lovely finish between Top Notch, Roxana, who won last year's Mares, and Vision de Flow. She's worth a mention. She's 8 to 1 for the Mares Hurdle.
Travelled very well, I thought.
Yeah, I made a mistake at the last. Only for that I'd say I would have won, but it was a great finish. Also, Saturday in Wincanton Reserve Tank, a dual Grade 1 winning novice hurdler.
Ground. That's all Robbie Power said to me when I met him for the big read.
Okay.
Needs good ground. And I'd say it had even gone a little bit softer than ideal on Saturday. So when it gets to the spring, Reserve Tank should come into his own.
As Tizzy would say, a lovely horse.
Lovely horse.
Saturday in Wincanton, we'd Fusel Raffles. Last year's possibly...
Disappointing.
Yeah. It was possibly last year's best 4-year-old. It looked to be in a spot of bother coming to 2 out. The horse against it, Grand Sancy, made a mistake. It got up, it won by 3/4 of a length. It's 14 to 1 for the Champion Hurdle. I wouldn't be backing that for the Champion Hurdle, would you?
No.
I'd say it's a stone off Champion Hurdle at the moment. But I think Nicky Henderson said that it had only been doing fast work 3 weeks. So I'd say it could improve, but it'd want to improve a lot, I'd say.
Certainly would. That is Fusel Raffles.
And then on to Nace on Saturday. 2 horses in the first race worth a mention, Embittered and Black Bow. They've got very, very good bumper form. They're first and second. They'd have to improve a lot, but I'd say they might. They're probably 2 decent animals. Celius Emery won the 2 mile conditions chase on Saturday in Nace. He's only had 2 runs in 2 years. He's 2 for 2 over fences with Willie. He's as short as 9 to 1 for the Champion Chase. It got £11 from Arnua, so the form would be okay, but because he hadn't run since January, he could improve a lot. Now again, he'd want to, but he has to be in the short list, I suppose, for the Champion Chase.
Very good horse. You'd like to see his jumping just a little bit slicker, I would have thought.
Yeah, he jumped fine. He made 1 or 2. He was high at 1 or 2. And yeah, I'd agree with you. Also, Nace, one little handicapper I think we just should mention is Kilfenora. Won the Brown Lad handicap over 2.5 from Rock the Bawn with the same owner. It won off 134. I got £9 for it, 143. I would give that a chance in the per temps if it shows up.
Okay. Yeah, always had the potential to deliver performance.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
I just think there's a race in that horse. Yeah.
Okay, that's
Big race.
Kilfenora.
Then we're on to Sunday, and we'll start with one of our favourite horses to talk about. He's always worth a mention is Santini.
I think I'm going to have to admit defeat with Santini. You said it cannot win the Gold Cup. I said it could.
Yeah.
In a couple of days, I think I've changed my mind.
Like it beats now McGinty in a photo finish, giving it £6. That's rated 144. So that's a 150 odd performance. You have to be high 170s to win a Gold Cup. I wouldn't.
It looked like myself and yourself had done a half marathon, and we're just coming into the last mile.
Yeah, I'd say.
From the final fence to the line, that was slow.
I'd say that'd be me and you after 200 yards. But 10 to 1 for the Gold Cup seems very short to me. He's a lot to prove.
And last season, staying novices, you've got to be worried.
You do.
Delta
yeah.
Work, top of the game, was beaten at Aintree.
Yeah.
And now you've got, obviously, Santini was very disappointing.
Maybe
Morton
the
was
novices
back and
weren't
forth.
great last year, even if you look at the 2 mile novices, etc.
And the funny thing is, I came out of that race thinking it was probably the race of the festival.
Yeah. So, not Santini, not for me. On to Sunday in Navan, there's a few to mention. Abacadabra's looked very good in the
very
2 mile
pacey,
novice.
yeah.
It didn't jump great in Gorn Park. Robbie Power, who to me is the best jockey at the moment, it was interesting that he was riding for Gigginstown. Travelled great, jumped fairly well, quickened up very, very well. So, all of us that backed Envoy Allen for the Ballymore, for an hour we were delighted because it looked like that's him for the Supreme and Envoy Allen for
And then what happened?
And then an hour or two later...
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah. Who played Andy Dufresne in the movie?
I don't know actually. Who was
Tim
it?
Robbins.
Tim Robbins.
That was unfair. Andy Dufresne appeared an hour later and he was electric. He's a class horse. He's won it point to point. His bumper, his maiden hurdle, really impressively. He could be anything. So it'll be very interesting as the season progresses. Where is he going to run Envoy Allen and Andy Dufresne? I'd say he'll just let them run and hopefully he'll have to make a tough choice to make maybe in early March. So, But Andy Dufresne was very, very impressive. He cost 330,000 sterling. So after winning his point to point. Bacardi's is worth a mention.
Almost at your price range.
Yeah. Bacardi's beat Apple's Jade. It's kind of sad to see Apple's Jade run so poorly, but...
Yeah, I wrote in my column this week that I think that's it for Apple's Jade.
Yeah. Yeah, no. She's won 10 grade ones. I can't see her winning another one.
I think that day at Aintree just bottomed her out.
Yeah, so this is her best time of year. She was well beat. Just to say about Bacardi's, Paisley Park to me looks the winner of the stairs, but if something happened that, I'd be interested in Bacardi's because even though it's been beaten twice in the stairs, once it fell at the last 2 seasons it went chasing both times and then eventually went to Cheltenham over hurdles, which is not the best prep. Whereas this year it's going to run, say, 4 times over hurdles. But that's a dual grade 1 winner, so I wouldn't discount Bacardi's in the stairs. Ballyosheen, a Plutard and Duke de Geneva, who was disappointed, they ran well. Ballyosheen hasn't proven himself at grade 1 level, but...
That was his champion chase.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say to you is last Christmas, I think he has to lead. And he's a very good jumper when he does lead. I think that last Christmas, Great Field, who's owned by the same man, annoyed him up front and he had to hold him in behind. So I think he's worth another shot maybe to grade 1. And a Plutard certainly didn't do its chances any harm.
Yeah, for me, he was the one to take out of the race.
Yeah, got outpaced and stayed on very well in the last 100 yards. So a Plutard might have a chance maybe in a Ryanair. And then we're on to Mellon and Fakir Dudery. I backed Mellon on Sunday, but Fakir Dudery was class. The two of them jumped well. That's a brilliant race every year. And I just think that Fakir Dudery, the way it stood off some of the fences down the back, it was getting £8, which it won't get in the Arca. But even so, Fakir Dudery was very impressive.
Okay, so that is the week that was. Now up in the ante, viewers, it is responsible gambling week. And as we always say, bet within your means. Gavin Lynch, you have some advice for punters?
Just maybe 2 things. One is to maybe specialise. Don't bet on everything. Don't be betting on football and, golf and racing. But if you feel that you're good at one thing, maybe bet on that mostly. And lastly is, I say this to everybody that backs horses or whatever, is to keep a diary. And if you do keep a diary, it just will control your gambling. And it's you against the diary, and it'll just make you more diligent in what you're doing.
Okay, excellent. So there is some advice on responsible gambling week from our very own Gavin Lynch. Okay, so it's time for our stat of the week, Gavin, and we are going to be telling Up in the Ante viewers a race at the Cheltenham Festival where stats are crucial. So every week from now until March, you are going to be revealing an all-important stat. So what is this week's stat?
So last week I probably opened my mouth a bit wide and mentioned I might have the
winner.
winner.
For the first time?
Yep. I might have the winner of the Martin Pipe. So I went and studied the Martin Pipe. So
are we going to reveal to viewers what this is today?
Yeah. So 10 of the 11 winners were age 5 or 6. Ireland has won 5 out of the last 6 and 4 of those were novices. So obviously we're looking for an Irish trained novice who's 5 or 6. So I have that horse here.
You're thinking there, Gavin.
Yeah, come on. So the horse in question, we mentioned it here on the show last January that he possibly was the best handicapped horse in Ireland after his famous run in Fairyhouse. That infamous. Lots of column inches was written about that at the time. At the time he ran off 108. He went up to 111 for that. He's now off 132 because he bolted up twice in Galway. I don't know if you remember the horse.
Have you guessed it yet, viewers?
Yep. So
tell them, Gavin.
I like the way you're thinking, trained by Gavin Cromwell.
I like the way you're thinking.
And I'd imagine Dara O'Keefe might even ride it in the Martin Pipe. So he's already got an Irish rating of 132. We haven't seen him since Galway. I don't know if he's going to jump fences or go novice hurdling or if he's still in training. But if he appears there, last year 126 got into the Martin Pipe, so he can get in. But I think, like, usually they go 16 to 1 the field in January or February for the handicap, so hopefully they do, but I'll definitely back him.
Excellent. So there you go. I like the way you're thinking. Trained by Gavin Cromwell, owned by JP McManus, and probably ridden by Darragh O'Keefe in the Martin Pipe.
I think I might have one for the Close brothers for next week.
Okay.
They
So
ran at the weekend.
it ran at the weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. So there you go. That is this week's Stat of the Week. So each week we're going to scrutinise a big race at the Cheltenham Festival, and it's the turn of the Champion Hurdle this week. It's our Champion Hurdle preview. Gavin, this race, when I went through it during the week, has the potential to cut up really, really badly.
It does.
I was going through it and I was struggling to find 7, 8 runners.
Yeah.
What do you make of it?
I think that Classical Dream, totally right favourite, has a great chance.
Got the betting here for viewers, and a lot could happen in the next week to 2 weeks in this Champion Hurdle market.
Yeah, with the Morgiana this Saturday in Punchestown especially.
Is Classical Dream the right favourite?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
I'd be against Bouvardere. I'm not, as I said earlier, not into horses that are too old, but he's 9 in January, and only 3 of the last 37 winners have been 9-year-olds.
That's not good for Bouvardere followers.
Hurricane Fly, Rooster Booster, and Royal Gate. And the other thing is, I wouldn't be mad about the horses turning 5 again in the last 34 years. I know last year's winner, Esper but only 2 of the last 34 or 5. So if you take out the 9-year-old, take out the horses turning 5, it doesn't need too many in it, I think.
Okay. And what does that leave us with, Gavin?
I like Classical Dream, and a horse at a big price. I thought had a chance of Sharjah. I think he's a kind of a forgotten horse.
Do you?
I don't want to steal
He mightn't be forgotten in a few moments.
But he won last year's Morgiana. He won at Christmas. He got brought down the Champion Hurdle, so he's a good horse.
Yeah, and I would have to agree. And I will explain why later in the show. But Sharjah is the forgotten one. He is the overpriced one. And stay tuned to find out why. So before we come to the most important part of the show, and that is our anti-post picks for the 2020 Cheltenham Festival, we're just going to have a quick chat about the week ahead. And Gavin, it is the November meeting at Cheltenham, one of my favourite meetings of the year. And I think Knocknanu's could win the big race, the Bet Victor Gold Cup. I just think he's crying out for a step up and trip. And I was fancying Cepage, who was just beaten on Saturday at Aintree. He's gone. And I think Knocknanu's.
Would you give Slate House a chance?
I would, yeah. He's unexposed.
He's very impressive the last day. A horse I like maybe on the Friday is trained by Tony Martin. Shared the honour of 125 in a handicap hurdle. He was impressive in Tipperary when he done me over a few quid, but might get the money back on Friday. And
I think it's a race that Tony Martin has won before with Quick Jack many moons ago. So there's 2 for your tracker at the weekend. It is Share the Honour for Gavin at Cheltenham on Friday and Knocknanu's for me in the big race on Saturday. So now, viewers, it is the moment you have all been waiting for. I'm sure of it. This is why you tune in. It is to find out our anti-post picks for the 2020 Cheltenham Festival, and it's time for the next serving of anti-post tips. And Mr. Gavin Lynch, we are going to start with you.
Okay, I'm going to go for Fakir Duderie. I think he'll run in the Arkle because the horse wants soft ground. As we said earlier, the ground earlier on the week is softer at Cheltenham, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I think he'll run there, but I'm just going to go 8 to 1 to win any race instead of the 10 to 1 to win the Arkle.
Playing it safe, you're
just
right.
In case,
You're right. No, I agree with you, you're right.
Like Bully, Jim Bowen, play it safe. I think that I can't see him run the JLT, but for the sake of 2 points, I was very, very impressed with that race in Navan on Saturday. He beat Mellon, as I said to you, who I backed. That's usually a very good race. Last year was won by Us and Them, who was second in the Arkle. The previous year won by Footpad. The previous year won by Annabelle Fly. I think he's more of a chaser than a hurdler. He was rated, I think, 149 over hurdles. Ran well at Cheltenham, at Aintree and Punchestown. Was 4th, 2nd and 2nd. But just the scope that he showed, his fencing, he was class. I think he'll go a long way in the Arkle.
Sure-footed, attacked his fences, enjoyed himself. Only 4. What's not to like?
The other thing, just one downer on it, is that he got an £8 allowance on Sunday in Navan. He gets no allowance in Cheltenham. Because years ago, back in the day, Vipura Steadies and Well Chief won it in 2004. Vipura Steadies, they used to get £4 and £5.
As well, yeah.
But nowadays, the 5-year-olds don't get an allowance. So just allow for that.
Would he have won at Navan on Sunday off?
I think so, because in the last 100 yards, he's going away again. And I think Joseph O'Brien said he'll improve after the run, so I think that's crucial as well.
Excellent. So there you go, folks. Gavin Lynch's next tip for the 2020 Cheltenham Festival. It is Fakir Duderie to win any race at the Cheltenham Festival. And it's 8 to 1 with Bet365. I think we both think that's a little bit of value, Gavin.
Yeah, no, I think it is, yeah.
And I'm going for a horse which is 4 times the price of that, Gavin.
Okay.
We've spoke about him already. It is Sharjah for the 2020 champion hurdle. It's 33 to 1.
33 to 1.
33 to 1 with Bet365 for the champion hurdle. And I think that is massive. Well, I went through the race during the week, okay? So you go through the market and you say to yourself, Classical Dream deserves to be favourite, obviously. But he's a very, very short price for the Morgiana on Saturday. Sharjah is the forgotten horse of the race, because if you remember, he came into the Morgiana last year. All the talk was about Faheen,
He was
the
odds on.
machine, he's back. And Sharjah absolutely bolts up and we go, sure, Faheen isn't the horse he was. He's not the horse he was. Then he goes to Christmas. He goes to the Ryanair hurdle at Christmas and it's all about Sam Crow. Now, obviously Sam Crow wasn't right. We know that. But we're all talking about Sam Crow. Sam Crow goes and gets stuffed and we're going, sure, Sam Crow wasn't the real Sam Crow. And everybody forgets about who won the race.
It was still a grade 1.
It was still a grade 1. Sharjah won the race. His only run since has been in the champion hurdle when he was brought down by Bouverdaire. And I've been liaising with Patrick Mullins on this. And I cannot have a conversation with Patrick Mullins without him mentioning the name Sharjah. He cannot understand why this horse is completely forgotten about. He's won 2 grade 1s. Who knows? He could have bolted up in the champion hurdle for all we know. We will never know. And I think after the Morgiana on Saturday, even if he's beaten by Classical Dream, I don't think he's going to be 33 to 1 after the race. Go through the race. Cur Sublime is a shorter price than him. Does Cur Sublime deserve to be a shorter price?
No.
And I'm a Cur Sublime fan. You've got Fusel Raffles, who's a third of the price of him. Pentland Hills, didn't think it was a great triumph hurdle.
No.
I can't find, apart from Classical Dream and Bouverdaire, it's very, very hard to find runners in the champion hurdle. And Sharjah, we know, if all goes to plan, is going to end up in the champion hurdle.
He probably prefers good ground, but he won a Galway hurdle on soft, so he's fine.
He did, yeah. So there we go. 33 to 1 Sharjah for the champion hurdle. And Fakir Didare to win any race at the Cheltenham Festival, 8 to 1 with Bet365. So those are our latest anti-post tips for the 2020 Cheltenham Festival. So that's it for this week's show, folks. My thanks to my Cheltenham connoisseur himself, Mr. Gavin Lynch. I've been David Jennings from the Racing Post. It's been a pleasure to join you this week. And don't forget to tune in every week from now until the 2020 Cheltenham Festival.